You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good day and welcome to the Mushie Moment for May 20th, 2025. Year's just motoring right along. I'm like it. The closer we get to summer, the happier I am. How you doing, Cindy?
I'm doing good. I am sitting in my car down on the waterfront here in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Which you gave
instead
me
of in my home.
You showed me the boat that was out there. The big, what kind of boat is it? The big sailing.
We have what's called a tall ship in our harbor right now, and it is you can get on harbor tours on the tall ship boat. So I'm going to do that at some point in time in the next month. We also I showed you. I don't know if you got a really good view of it. We have a cruise ship in just down the way. A fishing boat is right here. So I got to show you all of that sitting in our harbor.
Which is pretty cool. It was almost like being there.
Almost. But you weren't.
So how come you're there? What are you doing? What's going on?
Oh, well, I got my daughter tickets for a concert for Christmas. Avril Lavigne is playing here in Halifax tonight. This is, one of those bucket list concerts for my daughter. And I was a good mama, and I got her some VIP tickets for tonight's concert. But with VIP tickets, you actually have to be the person that bought them has to be the person that picks them up. So I have to go be there with her to get the VIP tickets. So half an hour after we're done the podcast, I have to be standing in line. She's about a 15-minute walk away, and so I'll go up there. I'll be in line with her. I'll make sure she gets her tickets, and then I'll go home.
So you're going to go give Avril leaving instead of Avril Lavigne. Sorry, bad grandpa jokes.
That's okay.
I can't help it. I can't stop it. They just come out.
They just come out. Yeah, so just because of timing and everything, and I told my daughter I would just come do the podcast out of my car, and then I'd walk up and see her. So that's the whole plan.
I think it's neat that we can actually do that.
I think it's really cool.
That 1 year I'm working doing the snow removal. I'm sitting in there while we're driving around. We're moving snow, still doing the podcast. Sorry.
Yeah. You're doing the podcast on the phone, and Ricky's plowing, going back and forth. And oh my gosh, yeah, that was a great podcast. Didn't we have? Wasn't it Stephen Gray we had on that time?
Oh, I couldn't tell you who it was at the time.
I can't remember.
I'd have to go back.
But speaking of guests,
I'm excited about this guest. I am. She's awesome. She is doing so much to open people's eyes to the magic and healing of microdosing. And I'm really happy to have her on. I've been, I met her a while ago, and I've been watching as everything she's doing is growing, and it's absolutely beautiful to watch. So should we bring her on?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the one and only Dana Harvey. Hi, Dana. How are you doing today? Oh, hang on. We're not getting volume.
You're muted.
That's the mute.
There we go.
Started a great conversation with myself, though, but Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Steve, you and I met each other in person in some training we were doing. I think it was like almost a couple of years ago now. Wow.
Yeah,
And then we had an experience based off that training, and yeah, we've gone deep.
it's been slow and steady growth and helping and healing and actually watching you has been inspirational for me. Honestly, it's been inspirational for me because watching what you're doing and manifesting and creating how you're delivering it, that was I had a vision that one day I would be doing something similar to that. The universe had a vision that my journey is supposed to be different. So I had an idea. The universe has a plan. I'm walking the plan, but boy, I sure love watching the people that are doing what you're doing. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, and it's not just the universe that has plans for us. I think it's the mushrooms. Like, I'm only doing what I'm doing because I've been told to. No uncertain terms by the mushrooms. So I follow.
Wow. So what got you on this journey? What was the beginning start of you going, I'm going to take this journey?
Yeah, well, it was the mushrooms. But so I had a 3-decade-long career in corporate communications and kind of really worked myself up to top leadership globally in doing corporate communications for new industries and emerging technologies. So places where the communication rules haven't been kind of written yet. And pioneering that. And so as psychedelics rose as a new industry, so to speak, I got recruited into the industry side as CCO and head of investor relations for one of the publicly traded companies. So just continuing along on my career path, which I was thrilled with. It was an excellent position, kind of a great trajectory for my career. And I had already had I'd had experiences with psychedelics all the way back from my teenage years, but I'd had some transformative experiences with intention that really made me passionate about learning about this and marrying together my own transformations with the science, the research, the history, the business, the marketing, everything. So this position gave me an opportunity to deep dive and really learn from above ground masters, below ground masters, just what's going on in the science side, the clinical trials. And importantly, it got me to be working with the mushrooms in a really therapeutic way with a therapist and to undertake some big dose journeys supported with the therapy, supported with the intention, preparation, integration. And it was during a particularly transformative journey. I don't know how to say it, but a powerful journey that basically the mushrooms said to me, we've got you working with us. We've got you where we need you. That's good. But you're not doing the right thing. You need to come down from this 40,000 foot dissociated career left brain masculine side and come back to your heart. Come back to your coaching and the mentoring that you've done for decades. Use us to help transform lives. Don't be talking to investors about when they're getting their freaking Lamborghinis. That's not the point. And so I basically came out of that journey with these 3 pillars, which were to provide loving guidance, to share evidence-based knowledge, and to build supportive communities. And it was clear as day that that was my directive. I had no idea how I was going to fulfill on that. But again, I worked with my therapist, I worked with my guides and teachers, and realized that what it really meant for me was leaving my career, stepping away from my career and diving into being trained, being mentored, apprenticing, learning everything I can, having my own experiences, and then sharing that with other people. And I've been doing that for the past half dozen years now, in many, many different forms.
Wow.
Yes.
So when you say they talk to you, because I actually get it in words, I hear words. When you say they talk to you, what do you mean? How is the communication in your world?
That's such a good question. I think for me, it's just a real intuitive knowing. I don't know if I like see the words or hear the words. It's just an intuitive knowing. And that's one of the things that I find so beautiful about mushrooms, particularly if we're talking about microdosing, where the shifts and the transformations are very subtle. One of the things that I found for myself and I see with my clients repeatedly is this ability to tune more into intuition. Our intuition rises, our inner knowing comes to the surface, and we're more connected to it, and we actually listen to it, and we tune into those gut instincts and those, when you feel it in your bones, when you feel it in your waters. The microdosing allows for that and allows us to process that and act on it. So I think that's kind of the way that the mushrooms talk to me, is through this intuitive knowing.
Nice. Wow. So you started from the what do you call it? Would be the left side hemisphere. You started with the left side hemisphere running hot. You modified and brought up the emotional hemisphere, and the loving hemisphere brought the other one down.
Yeah. Coming into balance.
And then you found your position, right? Where you were within the mushrooms, and you had to make a scary leap. Leaving your job had to be a scary leap.
Yeah, it was a huge leap. It was something I had to talk about with my family first. And it came with a lot of realizations, like just how much ego I had wrapped up in that position, in the title, in the career, and identity. So like stepping away from an identity that I'd crafted and built for decades, moving away from financial stability and financial surplus, really. I mean, if you kind of were looking at my life from the outside in at that point, I would say it looked pretty good on all fronts. I could tick the success boxes of society. But the biggest thing for me is this internal angst that I was experiencing. Like even within my career, for example, I was experiencing anxiety in things that previously had just really fired my passion and brought me a lot of excitement. I was like, why do I have this ucky yicky feeling? I had never really experienced anxiety like that before. And I had things going on in my personal life. There were just various parts of my life, such as my career, where it was illuminated to me that I'm not living in alignment. And so this career change became one of the things that I needed to do, my integration of, okay, mushrooms have illuminated for me where I am not in integrity. And that is the root cause of these feelings I'm having. Now it's integration. Now, what am I going to do with that insight? What am I going to do to actually make this experience transformative? And for me, yeah, it entailed a really scary leap, and passing it by my family. Hey, mom's going to do this thing that's a little different than I've been doing, and like maybe some of our lifestyle is going to shift a little bit, and some of that financial security might not be there. But it's kind of funny because some people, when they hear my story, they just get freaked out, and they're like, oh my God, does this mean I'm going to like quit my job or leave my husband or do like have these huge drastic changes? And I have to be like, no, it doesn't mean that. In my case, in my situation, with my intention, with my experience, that's what it meant. But you will need to do something from your journey, because the journey is going to give you the insights, the wisdom, the knowledge, the knowings. But yes, what you do with that is what's going to make it transformative, not the experience itself. So
yes, you can gather all the knowings, but if you don't act on them, they'll just create more anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll just go back to the same life, and like, what's the point? You have something cool to talk about at the dinner good dinner conversation about this trippy experience you had, but what's the point?
So how did you go about making that transformation?
Well, I walked into the CEO of my publicly traded company and I told him that I had some news for him, that the mushrooms told me I needed to quit. And when you're talking to the CEO of a psychedelics company, what's he going to say? Like, no. So luckily I left that position very well supported and in good relation with the company. And then the therapist that I was working with actually was super helpful for me because he had more faith in me, in my leap of faith than I did. Like, who am I to be pivoting and, supporting other people in this realm? Like, I'm not a therapist and, I'm not super experienced in here and I don't have like certifications and training and like, I can't do this. But because he believed in me, he believed in the message from the mushrooms, he kind of took me under his wing and nurtured me and allowed me to apprentice with him in a sense. So there was that element. And then there was me like soaking up every training I could get my hands on and then continuing my own exploration as well. And then tippy-toeing into when I felt ready, when my mentors felt I was ready, tiptoeing into that, just sharing it with my friends, my colleagues, people. It was like I started out working in groups, and groups are a big part of the work that I do. Groups of women, so highly driven, type A, career oriented, ticking the outward boxes of success, feeling like shit on the inside, but not talking about it, women. And who were going through perimenopause or menopause. Like, that was it. This has helped me so much. I want to share what I've learned to help you too. So I just started running these groups and like very transparently, like, I'm really new at this. I'm just sharing what I know. Let's see if it helps you too. And it did. And so just started by building on that. And then and just working with the mushrooms at first. And, throughout the years, I've been, for about 5 years, I've been supporting people in their deep dive journeys as well, preparation and integration, both individuals and in groups. I build communities. So I have the Flourish Academy community. I had Sisters in Psychedelics, Vancouver Women in Psychedelics. So just diving into those. And I work now predominantly with mushrooms and 5-MeO DMT.
Nice.
Amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. I resonated with a lot of what you've been saying. I was in a career working for my dad's companies, actually, I was doing book work, and I tripped across psychedelics as a medicine. I ran off and did iboga, and much like you, 5-MeO was what popped up and spoke to me and said, you're doing the wrong thing. And so I went for training. I went for training in Mexico, and in the middle of the training, my father fired me because he saw what, the same as you had that support from your therapist, that, that was, and you gained that strength and that ability. My father saw what I could do. And he just, he said, you're done, go do that. And, and it's scary. It's scary to take that leap, but my dad kind of, he kind of went, phew, and so here I am. So I kind of resonate with that a lot. And it's, I'm now slowly trying to build up things here on the East Coast, and the East Coast is way different than the West Coast when it comes to this stuff. Everybody is very much wearing the blinders down here. And it's not that they want to, but fear plays a big, huge, massive part of it.
Absolutely. And I think for those of us who know the power and the value of these medicines, I think it is really, it's our responsibility to share our stories in order to help reduce the stigma and bring in like evidence-based knowledge. And some of that evidence right now is only through anecdotal stories. So we need to share those as much as we need to share the clinical research until the clinical research can catch up. And still, even then, because it's our hearts that change, that make the shifts in society. It's our hearts. It's sharing our hearts and our stories, really. Like, the data is great, and it's our stories that really move the dial.
Yeah, I'm another person that has to gather all of the data and understand it and watch how the energy flows according to the data, and it helps calm my own particular brain. But doing the journeys, that's the magic. That really is. Microdosing has been massive. I know you're really big with the microdosing community as well, and as am I. And for me, it completely changed my life, everything about it. And then diving into what nootropics, what herbs you can combine to get the responses you want. If you need lots of pathway healing, there's herbs and adaptogens you can put in to focus on that. If you need the calming, there's stuff you can put in to do that. So just the things you can add with the mushroom itself, because in the form of the microdosing, the mushroom compresses the amygdala generation, so you don't dive into depression as heavy, you don't dive into manic as heavy. It compresses the emotional aspect down. But the fact that it opens up thousands of new pathways for every pathway that's already running, giving that ability to move data in such a flow that it's not so much about thinking, it's just about understanding, and understanding comes through. They've absolutely changed my life, and because of that, I also have a little company that myself and my partner John have a company in microdosing that have been changing lives. It's amazing. It's amazing the stories we get back in return.
Yeah.
For what we offer out.
I'm sure it is. And one thing that I've really noticed, Steve, like, I've worked with a lot of different microdose suppliers. Of course, particularly with the organizations I run, I get offered a lot to, here, try this one for promotion. And what I have noticed is it makes so much difference, the intention with which the microdose is grown and harvested and packaged and everything.
Yes.
Like the energetic intention from dot one makes all the difference.
Yes. Everybody that lays hands on that medicine needs to have a loving intention. They and it's it can change everything. You have one person, even just that even if it's just that courier, that can change that medicine. It's it's huge.
Absolutely. And like, it for those who don't know, that it sounds a little bit woo-woo, like, oh sure, like the person who touched it, the energy or whatever. But I'm sure for you guys and for me as well, I have seen and experienced and know the difference that it makes. It's not shit that we can make up. It's real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, when I started my microdosing journey, I guess it's been about 5 years now, 6 years maybe, and I'm lucid with time. I have no concept, but there wasn't a lot. James Fadiman had his stuff out, but trying to find stuff was a little bit tough. I'm sure you're in around that time frame, so you must know that as well. It's tough to get a lot of data. So for me, I did a lot of the Reddit blogs of the the science guys that are in there and what they've been using, because I understood that the mushrooms for PTSD, I was using them for my PTSD, and the mushrooms would give me the calm, but the healing wasn't fast enough for me. So that's where I went down. What adaptogens, things like alpha GPC, magnesium L-threonate, L-theanine, just you get into that aspect of things, the things that can help with the healing, as well as you got to make sure you have the lion's mane in there for, the brain, the nerve endings and stuff. And it's beautiful now to see how many people are actually speaking not just about the mushrooms, but about the adaptogens and the herbs that combine. The plants all talk, they heal, they fix the gut up, they fix the brain up. It's such a beautiful thing. What has been your experience through combining with adaptogens and nootropics and stuff?
Yeah, such a
And
great.
I'm gonna interrupt there only because this is a great time to go for a break, and then we can get the answer to that question when we get back.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. We're going to be right back. Stay tuned for a message from our sponsors. Take it away.
You're listening to the Pace Radio
Here
Network
we go.
here at paceradio.net.
Camelford Lifestyle Shop, open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Camelford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Camelford, Ontario.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Good day and welcome back to the Mushie Moment. We're here with Dana Harvey from Flourish Academy
Hello,
and
hello.
group.ca. And I can't believe how much you do. It's amazing.
Psychedelic Revelations podcast. There you go.
Yes. Oh, hang on. Let me get that one up. Ready?
There you go. On cue. Absolutely.
Actually, we'll just let that one run. Okay, so before the commercial break, I was asking about what you found regarding mixing adaptogens and nootropics, et cetera, into the microdosing.
Yeah, such a good question. So I think my whole philosophy around microdosing is that, mushrooms, we're talking about mushrooms predominantly here. Mushrooms are one element. They're an ally. They're a friend to support us in our growth and our healing. And they play really well in the sandbox, not just with other adaptogens and nootropics, but I just think that effective microdosing is stacking. So yes, stacking with these additional supplements and stacking with your own habits, habit changes, things you can bring into your life. Like everything I look at is like, okay, here's our little friend that's going to help us. Now, how are we going to help our friend to help us? We're going to help our friend by making sure that our nutrition is supported. We're going to help our friend to help us by making sure we get enough sleep. We're going to help our friend by adding in lion's mane or ashwagandha, whatever, just depending on what we are working on, what our intention is. And we're going to add in supportive practices, whether that's going for a walk every day or spending time in meditation or taking yourself to a sound bath, like what our friends, the mushrooms, they're going to work with us at the extent and the strength that we are prepared to work with them. So what are we going to bring in? So stacking of nootropics and adaptogens is a really great way to support the mushrooms to work with us. And for me, what I found is it can be very personal as to, what is your intention and your lifestyle. How can we make those the best situation for the mushrooms? And then there are some that are just kind of standards that are easy to stack with, depending for most people, like lion's mane and niacin, the stamets stack. I also find like really nice for almost everybody is ashwagandha. Love that.
Yeah. With their Brahmi, or what do they call Bacopa monari, seems to be another one that's in a lot of them as well.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I find again, like whatever we can do to support the mushrooms so that they can support us, we are going to get better results.
That's a great way to look at it. What can we do to support them supporting us?
Yeah.
Because then for people that don't like to help themselves, you're helping them help you.
Well, exactly. And it steers us away. If we look at it that way, it steers us away from the pharmaceutical model that, we're going to pop this pill in the morning. We're going to get on with our day. We don't have to do anything. The healing's going to be done to us or for us. That's not the way it works. We're going to do the healing together. We're going to do the healing. And so, it changes the mindset when we think of these mushrooms as just our friends who are supporting us. But if we want them to work with us, we need to tell them how we want them to work with us. So we need a really strong intention. And we need to say, hey, I also, like, I'm not going to just lean entirely on you. I want to get better. So I'm prepared to do this, that, or the other thing. And can you help me to do that and to implement it and to stick with it and to have consistency? And yeah, so it just changes the mindset, particularly if you're taking your microdose in a capsule. It can be really tricky for people to get beyond that pharmaceutical or merely a supplement mindset and to come more into relationship. Like we want to be in relationship with the mushroom. So yeah.
Yes, I would have to agree. I would say that over time, I've definitely developed a relationship, not just because a lot of times people say relationship with the mushroom and they picture the mushroom eating the mushroom, but that includes the microdoses.
Yeah.
That includes the relationship with the softer, smaller. For a lot of people with PTSD, they don't hear soft and subtle. They hear loud. Their whole life has been loud. So for me, a lot of the learning of the microdose, I learned the science so that I could trust and understand it's working, because as I was taking them and going forward, I wasn't noticing differences. But at the end of a month, when I stood and looked back, it's like, oh, no anxiety, no panic attack, no. Oh, look how nicely they're working. Okay, just keep going forward and trusting that they're doing what the science says they do.
Yeah.
And then over time, I've just found the healing in it. And it's like, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the beauty of microdosing is its subtlety and its softness. It's also the challenge of microdosing, because when you're microdosing for transformation, not just taking a microdose because you don't want to have a glass of wine, but if you're microdosing for the purpose of transformation, I totally forget where I was going with that. It's the beauty is that soft and subtle, but also the challenge, because so many people, like, we're just programmed to expect to feel something. Like,
Yeah.
I want something to happen on the day that I take my microdose so that I know it's working. But to actually just sit back and trust and maybe track and journal and notice the shifts, that's a challenge, you know. And particularly I find when I'm working with people who have substance use issues, kind of like particularly have kind of the mores, like I want more, I don't know what's working, you know. So just learning to sit back and sit in that beauty. And so many times it's not even us that notices. I don't know if you found this for yourselves, but it's your colleagues or your children or someone in your life that's saying like, hey dad, like, you know, you're pretty calm these days. What's going on with you? Or I was listening to an interview, I think it was just yesterday, with Ayette Walden, who wrote A Really Good Day, which is a great book about microdosing. She microdoses LSD. And she said that she wasn't noticing the shifts. But then her teen daughter said to her one day, like, what is wrong with you, mom? Like, you're so cool and calm these days. Like, are you on acid or something? She said, I just about spit my breakfast out all over the table because obviously I hadn't told my kids that I was taking LSD on a daily basis. But it's those other people in our lives who might notice the shifts even before we do.
Yes. I have to agree. I've had that happen. And I've had that happen with some people that I worked with as well, where, you know, after microdosing for a month, they were brought into HR and asked, what are you doing? Everything's different and you're way more calm. What, you know, they want to know what changed.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, it's weird because I've also found that a lot of people want to feel it.
Yeah.
So when they want to, I'm just going to ask, because this is basically what I do is I go, okay, do it till you feel it. Do that for a few days and then back off. You already know it. So then back off and let the micro be a micro. Because if you're feeling it, it's not really a micro.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good way to approach it, I think, particularly because we do run up against this challenge of people wanting to feel it and not believing that it's working if they don't feel it, right? But what I often give the analogy of yoga. So, you know, you might decide to go to a yoga class one day and maybe you're feeling kind of down, crappy, whatever. You come out of that yoga class and you're like, oh my God, I feel so good. I got a little sweat on. I got my endorphins going. I'm a little bit more flexible. Like, everyone should do yoga. And I'm going to do yoga again too. Maybe like in a couple of weeks, I'm going to do another class, whatever, you know? So that's like taking a microdose. When people take what is generally kind of slightly more than a typical microdose and they feel something and it's great and it's wonderful. But if you were embarking on yoga because you wanted to benefit from the long-term benefits, you wanted a stronger body or a leaner body or easier access to mindfulness, then you wouldn't be, you know, just taking a yoga class here and there. You would embrace a yoga practice. You'd have some days that you practice, some days that you rest. You'd probably work with a teacher or a guide, maybe in community, and you would start to, over time, subtly notice, my body is stronger. I'm more flexible. I'm leaner. So that is, to me, the difference between taking a microdose. And I think there is nothing wrong with taking a microdose, particularly if you are honest and you say, medium dose or a museum dose or a microdose, whatever, you know, like, and the practice of microdosing for transformation. And that is the area where I coach people in is, okay, you have a transformation you want to make in your life. This is going to take you doing some work, meeting the mushroom, developing a relationship, and taking it as a practice. And over time, we're going to notice these shifts that you're looking for in your life.
And this is a perfect time to direct to the flourishacademy.org because you were talking about in your practice.
In my practice, yes.
So why don't you tell us about the Flourish Academy?
Yes. So the Flourish Academy is, my organization, where I offer a variety of different services and offers. In addition to being a psychedelics and microdosing facilitator and educator and community builder, I am also a certified sound healer and sound ceremonialist. So I very often combine these practices together at live events throughout Vancouver and virtual events coming soon, where we do combine microdosing or meditative doses in some cases. For example, we do have an event in Vancouver coming up this Friday that offers a meditative dose of 5-MeO-DMT. And we'll be meeting in community, doing a cord cutting ceremony, and then integrating that with a sound journey, a healing sound journey. So lots of public events. I also offer individual and group microdosing coaching support programs. I have clients all around the world, Bulgaria, Romania, UK, France, Australia. Which is great because we sometimes forget that we're in this bubble here in Vancouver where it seems like it's legal and everybody does it. So to be able to kind of spread the message and the good news of the mushrooms internationally feels great. And then I support large dose journeys of psilocybin and 5-MeO-DMT as well. And that's both in individual and in group journeys. One of the things that really, really excites me is the work that I do with another organization that's called Gathering Groups. And we offer, it's a 12-week program to prepare, 8 weeks of preparing for a large dose mushroom retreat, and then 4 weeks of integrating in small groups. So we meet online for 8 weeks, and then we meet in person for 3 days. And then we meet online again for 4 weeks. And we have people, our retreat space is just outside of Vancouver. But again, we have people from all around the world joining us for the online 12 weeks and then flying in for the weekend. But one of the reasons I think that's so exciting is the emphasis that we put on preparation and 8 full weeks. We hear so much about integration in this space, not realizing that preparation is already the start of integration. And preparation is what's going to allow the mushrooms to work with you, calm your nervous system down, give it fertile ground. So our program has been recognized by Health Canada. We're working with Health Canada on 2 Health Canada endorsed clinical trials right now. So one is for first responders who suffer from treatment-resistant depression. And the other one is a large-scale clinical trial that, for like the first time in history, focuses on well people. You do not need any clinical diagnosis. In fact, it may preclude you. This is for people who just want to explore themselves or feel better, but we're not working on this clinical diagnosis side. So that's very exciting. And I just finished this weekend facilitating a retreat with them that had a full film crew at it. We have a group of 12 therapists who agreed to be filmed from the very beginning of the 12 weeks right through to the end, so that we can create a documentary and again share the stories, because that's what it's going to take to move the dial at this point in time. So yeah.
Amazing.
It's a beautiful thing watching people come out and wanting to share their stories, you know, in a space that it's kind of, I gotta say, it was scary for me to come out and be public on stuff. You know,
yeah, I mean, it still is like, I don't know, when people ask me what I do, it's always like this, who are you? Why are you asking this situation? You know, how far am I going to go? Is it going to be like, oh yeah, I'm a coach, I'm an executive coach, or are we going to go there? You know?
I stick with holistic. I work with holistic medicine, so people will, depending on what they're comfortable with, that's where they go with it. And I kind of like that. If you know, if it doesn't seem like, if I feel like somebody's going to be like, you know, shocked and shaken at a psychedelic facilitator, I just tell them I host a podcast and leave it at that. And yeah.
Tell them to check it out, then come back and talk to me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, I'm blown away with how much you can actually make happen. Oh, we should put this one up here, because this one is just, if people want to find you, they can go to there, right? That's a
Yeah,
direct.
absolutely. And I list everything on there, all my services plus all my upcoming events and my podcast. It's a weekly live podcast that's hosted on on what's it called? The Clubhouse app. That used to be all the rage during COVID. It's like an old school phone-in talk radio style. So I have a community of, I think, over 4,000 on that app. And so we bring in leading experts from around the world every Friday morning from 9 till 10:30 and interview them. But it's like a community conversation. So the community can ask their questions, share their stories too. And then we rebroadcast those on the Psychedelic Revelations podcast. So again, it's part of one of my pillars of, well, 3 pillars: provide loving guidance, share evidence-based knowledge, and build supportive communities. So I've been doing that for years. We used to do 3 shows a week. Now we're down to 1 because I just can't sustain it.
I can't even imagine 3 shows a week.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I have a team of facilitators that work with me and take over hosting and stuff, but still it was a lot. But
Wow.
tons and tons of great episodes on that, on the podcast now with all our replays. We have hundreds of episodes on every medicine under the sun and every diagnosis under the sun, and like microdosing and macrodosing and above ground and below ground and the science. And yeah, it's worth checking out too.
Oh, this is, I actually didn't
Amazing.
know you had that. So I'll be hitting this one because I'm a, play the Spotify while I'm driving around kind of guy.
Yeah. And come and join us live if you happen to be available on Friday mornings. Like that app, you can just put it on in the background like a radio, or you can actually, if something happens and you're like, oh, wait, I have something to say on that, you can just put your hand up and join the conversation. So it's pretty neat.
And that app is called Clubhouse.
Nice.
The app is Clubhouse. Yeah.
Clubhouse.
So you get it on your phone, on iPhone or Android.
Cool. I'll be picking that up.
Awesome. I'll be happy to see you there.
You'll see me in there waving. Hey, it's me. Hey, it's me.
My hands up.
I'm probably going to be recommending a few people to a couple of your programs as well. I've had some people reaching out to me, and I have a feeling you're just a little more better, well suited for what they're looking for as well. So I've got a couple people.
And I'm heading out the end of June. I'm going to be out in Vancouver for a couple of months. So I'm planning on attending some of your events that I noticed that you put on. So we'll get a chance to meet, and I'll get a chance to sit in your space holding and be part of it.
Oh, I'd be so honored. Thank you so much.
Wow, I never even thought of that. And I'm down here.
I know.
Go up to some of your events.
Come out this Friday. It's going to be excellent ceremony. I got someone flying out from Toronto for it.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we do these ceremonies once a month. I used to do them with Vancouver Women in Psychedelics, but I just found like all the men were coming and saying, well, when do we get a ceremony? When do we get a ceremony? So now we're opening those up. But I do Sunday sound sessions every Sunday night, and then my full ceremonies once a month.
Wow. Well, you probably won't get rid of me now.
And here's a cool one that's coming up is we're doing equine therapy with sound therapy and plant medicine. So there's a farm out in Maple Ridge here called River Haven Farms, and we're just planning the dates for that now. We've had kind of some practice trial runs to see how the horses work around the sound and stuff like that. So I think that is going to be beautiful with the horse.
I can't picture what you mean. Can you deliver it to me so I can see it? I don't get what you mean.
Well, equine therapy is a way of working with horses that doesn't involve getting on them and riding them at all. It involves being in their presence. And horses are so attuned to human emotion and human needs that they are pretty much able to sense where there may be imbalance in you and help to kind of co-regulate you just from their own innate knowing. And of course, equine therapy isn't where my specialty is. I'm partnering with someone on that. But whenever she and I talk, it's like we're talking about the same thing, but she just replaces plant medicine with horses. And it's like the same kind of healing that can happen.
So you're going to try and combine the sound healing with the, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we'll have an evening outside in the field there with the horses just being like, we'll just sit in chairs or on the ground, and the horses will just be allowed to free roam around us while we do some sound healing through a sound journey, probably enhanced with some plant medicine, and just kind of see where the horses gravitate to and what kind of balance they bring to you as a person in this holistic healing modality. So
Wow.
You are going to absolutely love doing that. There's a company down here. That's what they are. They have a farm, they have horses, they are a therapy farm. So they hold sound therapy, cacao ceremonies, which is just kind of new, but they've done the sound therapy and they've done the equine therapy for a long time now. And it is extremely popular, and they hold all kinds of retreats, and I see it being so beautiful for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. Yeah. We held a retreat with this farm a couple of years ago. We did a trial retreat. It was an overnight one. And we took about 8 women up in helicopters to the local mountains to set intentions. And we came back. We had one day that was plant medicine and one day that was horse equine therapy. And we brought in yoga and breath work and stuff. But this is the first actually combining the horses and the plant and the sound together. So yeah, it'll be beautiful.
Wow.
And we're doing them in June and July, Cindy. So you might be here with us.
Well, I will be here in July. Yes. So count me in.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow is right. That's a big wow one. I think that you're gonna help a lot of people find their tools with a retreat like that.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. That's what it's all about, right?
And then we can work on a puppy version.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Oh, look at you. That face alone is going to heal hearts.
He's my baby.
It's going to steal hearts too. Yeah.
A whole lot of puppy love would work in that type of therapy too. Wow.
Ooh, what? It really would.
They
do goat yoga. Can't imagine why they couldn't do puppy sound baths and puppy plant healing.
Well, I took my old dog, the Mika that passed away last year. I took her to, she came out to the sanctuary and she was out there for a few mushroom journeys with us. She was out there for some 5-MeO and Bufo journeys. And I have to say, it was amazing watching people in because it was a group setup, and you would see people starting to go into a struggle, and then they would just hold her and pat her, and you would just see all of the struggle go away, and they'd go back to their place and they'd be smiling. It was just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, we have 2 dogs at the retreat center for gathering groups, and they're journey dogs. Every weekend they're sitting in journey with people, and it's just amazing to watch the healing that they bring innately too. We always do a lot of consent beforehand, consent about touch and consent about the dogs too, are you okay? There's going to be dogs. Is that going to be an issue for you? Are you okay with them being around you? And if there's allergies, we have to obviously not have them there, but for the most part, we usually have on average one person that's yeah, no dogs, don't want the dogs, right? You know where the dogs go? Right there. Right there. Person. To the person who said no. And so a lot of times we're doing, as the facilitators, we're doing deep dives as we see the dog going there. We're try and pull it away. But we don't always make it. And sometimes the dog ends up there. And I tell you, 100% of the time when the dog actually makes it to the person who said no, then we try to, we're oh, so sorry, take the dog away. They're no. Yeah. It's just the right thing that they need at just the right time. It's amazing.
Yeah, the dogs are pretty intuitive. They've I've had them help me on a lot of my journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wow. Yeah. And horses too. Horses are brilliant. They really are. They're a very smart animal. They're a brilliant animal, and they're very intuitive. And yeah, that's not an area I would have thought of. That's pretty cool.
Well, this Riverhaven Farms is helping a lot of people already. They work with a lot of children. They work with the local school district. They work with prison guards. They do a lot of work with prison guards, people who have trauma from their jobs as first responders. So just to be able to marry that together with, the beauty and the healing and the work that we've seen with the plant medicines and sound healing, it's just, really exciting to share that with everybody.
Wow.
Yep.
That's sorry, I'm just visualizing it all. It's like the mind's wandering off. It's like, wow, that's an incredible, because I know there's recovery places that use horses and animals on the farm and really help to show people that there's something else in life to pay attention to and to put energy and invest that shares back with you. And it always seems to come from a loving position.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of people that, within my life, I know a lot of people in the addictions community, and a lot of them, that's part of where they find their way back to being okay in the current realities without the substances.
Yeah.
Through those critters that actually know how to give unconditional love.
Unconditional love. There's the word. Yes.
That's probably been my biggest struggle, is to learn how to love unconditionally.
Yeah.
Because, through our lives, through our traumas, through everything else, everything slaps conditions on. And then we slap all our own conditions on top of that.
Absolutely.
So letting them go, I got to say, my last dog, Mika, she taught me more about unconditional love than any being on the planet. It's been massive in learning and understanding what it is.
Yeah.
Achieving being able to be it and deliver it, that's a whole different ball game. But at least I'm understanding and working towards it. And the mushrooms sure help.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing this. Are we at time?
Yeah, I'm pointing for Steve's benefit. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were raving.
No.
Okay. So I guess we have to ask if there's any last things you'd like to say to anybody. Take the stage.
Yeah, I just feel that I really want to be instrumental in breaking down the stigma around these plant medicines, because the healing is so profound and undeniable. We've seen it not just through science and data, but through all the stories. And the biggest barrier that we have right now is still the stigma from the 1960s that we're still working to break down. And so I'm just so happy to share my offers, my services, my words, whatever I can, to be part of the solution for our planet, the solution for our mental health, for our presence, for unconditional love. So anything that I offer resonates with anyone listening, just reach out. You can just schedule a discovery call for free on my website and go from there.
Wicked.
Amazing. And like I said, I'm coming out the end of June. I'm driving out from Nova Scotia. Once I get there, I'm going to take a look at what you're offering that I can get to. I'm definitely going to come to something. And then after that, and if Steve hasn't been to a sound bath by then, I'll be down to a couple of somethings, because I'll bring him with me. And then to have you back on and talk about our experiences with you, I think would be phenomenal. It would be fun for the three of us, and I think it would be educational for anybody that watches. It'll give them a little bit more insight to what you do, hearing it from us as your participants.
Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, I welcome you both. Love to have you.
Thank you very much for being here. And I'll probably see you Friday.
Yay! I'd love that.
I may even have a couple people to drag along to it. But
amazing.
I guess it's time to run our ad. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody for being here on the show. Thank you to Pace Radio for letting us have the podcast. Run the ads. Bye.
Much love.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own. and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.